Let's start with a simple question. Who do you think benefits more from marriage, men or women? If you ask society, you'll hear things like, marriage makes women feel secure and fulfilled. Men are the ones who lose their freedom. But if you look at the research, an interesting trend emerges. Married men report being happier than married women. In fact, in many studies, women are the ones who file for divorce more often, report higher levels of stress in marriage, and say they feel emotionally unfulfilled. So what's going on here? Do men just get luckier in marriage? Do women expect too much? Or is there a deeper, more practical reason for this happiness gap? Today, we're going to break it all down. The hidden truths about marriage, why men seem happier, and most importantly, what both partners can do to make marriage better for both of them. 1. Marriage gives men stability, but it gives women more work. Marriage is often described as a partnership, a union where two people support each other equally. But here's the reality. In most marriages, women end up doing more. Think about it. Who remembers the doctor's appointments, school meetings, and grocery lists? Who keeps track of birthdays, family events, and social plans? Who's more likely to handle the emotional and mental labor of the household? Research shows that even in modern marriages where both partners work, women still take on a larger share of housework and caregiving responsibilities. This creates what's known as the second shift, where women finish their paid job and come home to more unpaid work. Now, let's contrast that with men. Studies show that men tend to experience better health after marriage because their wives encourage healthy habits, more emotional support without having to do as much emotional labor in return, greater stability without feeling the same level of exhaustion. For many men, marriage feels like a comfortable arrangement. But for many women, it often feels like another full-time job. And that's a big reason why happiness levels differ. 2. Emotional labor. Women carry more, men benefit more. Now, let's talk about something that isn't always visible, but is one of the biggest stressors for women in marriage: emotional labor. What is emotional labor? It's the invisible work of managing feelings, maintaining relationships, and handling emotional support. If there's tension in the family, who is expected to smooth things over? If the kids are struggling in school, who is making sure they're emotionally okay? If a husband has a stressful day, who is usually providing comfort? The answer: most often, the wife. Women are often expected to be the relationship managers in marriage, checking in on their partner's feelings, making sure communication stays strong, and holding everything together. Meanwhile, many men benefit from this emotional labor without even realizing it. They feel supported, they feel cared for, and they feel like marriage is a safe space. And when you feel supported, it's easier to be happy. But what happens when the person giving all that support starts feeling drained? That's where the happiness gap starts to grow. 3. Expectations versus reality. Women feel let down more often. Here's another major factor. Women often enter marriage with higher expectations, and face more disappointment. Many women grow up believing that marriage will be an equal partnership, full of emotional connection, romance, and teamwork. But once they're in it, they realize that the mental and emotional burden often falls on them. This mismatch between expectation and reality can lead to frustration, resentment, and eventually, less happiness. Meanwhile, many men enter marriage with simpler expectations. They expect companionship, stability, and support, and for the most part, they get those things. When expectations align with reality, you feel satisfied. When they don't, you feel let down. So it's no surprise that in many marriages, women feel more emotionally unfulfilled, while men feel content. 4. Women are more likely to seek growth, men are more likely to settle. Another key difference: women are more likely to seek personal and emotional growth in marriage. Many women want deep conversations about life, dreams, and emotions, continuous effort in romance and connection, a feeling of growth, both individually and as a couple. But research shows that many men settle into routines more easily. If the basic structure of marriage works for them, they don't feel the need to analyze or improve it. So what happens? Women keep pushing for more connection, more emotional depth, more effort, and when they don't get it, they start feeling unheard and unseen. Over time, this can lead to the feeling that their emotional needs aren't being met, while their husbands remain relatively content. 5. The happiness penalty of motherhood. Now, if we're talking about marriage, we have to talk about parenting. Because once kids enter the picture, the happiness gap between husbands and wives often grows even bigger. Why? Because women take on more parenting responsibilities, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Moms are more likely to adjust their work schedules, take on child-related planning, and manage day-to-day parenting stress. Dads, even when they are involved, often do more fun parenting, playing with the kids, while moms handle the behind-the-scenes work. This doesn't mean men don't care about their children. It just means that women often carry the heavier load, and that extra responsibility impacts their happiness. Meanwhile, men get to enjoy the stability of family life without the same level of exhaustion. And that, once again, creates a happiness imbalance. 6. Women are more likely to initiate divorce, and here's why. One of the most telling signs of this happiness gap: women file for divorce more often than men. In fact, studies show that in heterosexual marriages, women initiate about 70% of divorces. That's a huge number. Why? Because women are more likely to recognize when they're unhappy and emotionally unfulfilled, feel overwhelmed by the mental and emotional labor of marriage, decide that their needs aren't being met, and take action. Many men don't see the warning signs. They assume things are fine because they're happy. And by the time their wife is at a breaking point, they feel blindsided. This is why many men only start reflecting on the marriage once their wife is already out the door. 7. So, how can we close the happiness gap? Now that we've uncovered the reasons behind this imbalance, the big question is, how do we fix it? The answer isn't for women to lower their expectations, or for men to feel guilty about being happy. Instead, we need to create a more balanced partnership where both people feel equally supported and valued. For men, be more aware of the invisible labor your wife is doing. Ask how you can help. Engage in emotional conversations, don't leave all the relationship work to her. Take initiative in household and parenting duties without being asked. For women, communicate your needs clearly, don't assume your partner knows what you're feeling. Delegate tasks instead of carrying everything alone. Prioritize self-care and personal happiness instead of sacrificing everything for the marriage. For both partners, have regular check-ins about emotional, mental, and household balance. Treat marriage as a team effort, not an unspoken expectation that women will do more. Understand that both partners deserve happiness, not just one. At the end of the day, marriage should be a source of happiness for both people, not just one. But right now, too many marriages are structured in a way that benefits men more than women. It's not about blame, it's about awareness and change. When both partners actively work to support each other, the happiness gap closes. And when that happens, marriage stops feeling like an uneven burden, and starts feeling like the true partnership it was always meant to be. Thank you.